Today's lesson is titled Dividing Two-Digit by One-Digit Numbers. The objective today is I will use the standard algorithm to divide two-digit numbers by one-digit numbers. The standard algorithm is something we have already talked about. It's the divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down method. We also learned it by saying, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? Let's look at the following problem. Susan is packing t-shirts and shorts into boxes to put away for the winter. There are 42 items to pack. She packs the same number of items into 3 boxes. How many items does Susan pack in each box? If we use the cubes method, we're going to circle the key numbers. 42 is one number, 3 is another. Then I would underline the question. How many items does Susan pack in each box? I would then box the keywords. Well, in this case, you're going to box in each into same number, which means we're going to be dividing. Each tells us that we're going to multiply or divide, but when you're putting the same number into each box, that means we're going to divide. So in the previous lesson, we've learned how to use pictures. We've learned how to use repeated subtraction to solve this. But now we're going to use the standard algorithm. So first we're going to use 42 is the number that we are dividing up into 3 boxes. So we could have drawn pictures, but now we just need to think how many, we have 4 tens in 42, so how many tens can I put in each box if I have 3 boxes? Well, I know that I can only put 1 into each one. So if I think about my 3 boxes, I would only be able to put in 1 into each box, and I would have 1 left over. So there I've divided. Now I need to multiply. Well, 1 times 3 is 3. I then am going to subtract. So 4 tens minus 3 tens is 1 10. So again, we have 1 10 left over. Within our picture, that was correct. We had 1 on the outside. I then checked to make sure that when I subtracted this number is smaller than this number, which is your divisor, and it is. So we can now bring down. So now I'm going to bring down the 2 ones that I have not divided out yet. So now I have 1 10 and 2 ones, which is actually 12 ones altogether. So now I'm going to take my 12 ones and I'm going to divide them up into 3 boxes. Well, if I continue to count until I get to 12, I'd find out that I could do 4 in each box. So 4. Then I was going to multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract. So when I subtract, I get 0, which means I would be able to put 14 into each box, and I don't have anything left over. Let's try and solve the next problem together. So we're going to follow the standard algorithm, which is divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. So we're going to rewrite our problem with 87 divided by 5. Okay, I'm first going to divide. I'm going to look at, I have 8 tens, and I have 5 groups. So do I have enough tens to put into 5 groups? I do. I only have enough tens to put 1 into each group. I then am going to multiply. 1 times 5, which is 5. I then am going to subtract my 10, so 8 tens minus 5 tens is 3 tens left over. I then am going to check to make sure that what I subtracted, which is 3, is smaller than my divisor, which is 5, so we are good, so we're done there, and now we are going to bring down. We're going to bring down this ones, which there were 7 of them. So now I have 37 ones to divide up into 5 groups. So I need to think, divide by saying I have 37. So if I count by 5s, how many times do I count by 5 before I reach 37? And that would be 7. I then multiply, so 7 times 5 is 35. I subtract, 37 minus 35 is 2. I then check to make sure that what I subtracted, which is 2, is smaller than my divisor, which is 5. It is. I have nothing left to bring down, so that 2 is my remainder. So my answer is 17, remainder 2. So let's try the next problem in our notes. So we're actually not going to do it on our whiteboards. We're going to do it in our notes. We're going to use the standard algorithm, which is divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. So we're going to start with our dividend, which is 94. We're going to divide it, which is our divisor is 2. We're going to first divide our 10. So I have 9 tens, and I'm going to divide them into between 2 groups. Well, if I think about it, I could actually put 4 tens into each group, because 4 times 2 is 8, which means I would have 1 left over. So I have followed the standard algorithm by first dividing. 9 divided by 2 is 4. I then multiplied 4 times 2, which is 8. I then subtracted with 1. Next, I'm going to check to make sure that what I subtracted, which is 1, is smaller than 2. It is. So I'm good, and now I can bring down the 4 remaining ones that I have not divided out yet. So now with the 110 that was left over, plus the 4 ones, I now have 14 ones to divide up in 2 groups. 14 ones divided into 2 groups. So if I count by 2s, how many times can I count before I get to 14? I actually can count 7 times, and when I multiply 7 times 2, it actually equals 14. Then I subtract, and I will get 0 as my answer. I'm going to check to make sure that 0 is smaller than 2. It is. I have nothing left to bring down, so my answer is going to be 47. I'd like you to try and solve this next problem on your own. So again, you're not going to do it on a whiteboard, you're going to do it in your notes. And you make sure that you rewrite it as 82 divided by 5, and remember the standard algorithm: divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. So solve that problem on your own.